Yeah, absolutely. So, very excited to introduce this next panel. This is the GBA board. Some members aren't going to be able to attend, but Gerard, I know that you connected with a few of them, and the floor is yours.
So I'd like to introduce Tom Goldstein to you. Tom is one of the members of the board. GBA has a board of 4 people, which is Tom Goldstein, Andrew Parrish, and myself. We're in the process of bringing on 2 other board members, and we haven't gone through the administrative steps yet, but I have spoken to all the members already, and we've got a verbal agreement, but we're just in the process of doing the paperwork. We'll clearly have it done before September. But those 2 people are Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar, who's with us also, and then Ingrid, who most of you probably already know. She is the leader of the U.S. Office of the World Business Angel Investment Forum, which GBA is the host for, and she's a senator for the World Business Angel Investment Forum, and has an incredible story. I can't tell you enough positive about her. But so Tom and I are going to talk for a little bit. Then I'm going to ask Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar to share a few words if he's available. But Tom, do me a favor. For some of these people, this is probably the first time they've had a chance to get to know you or hear from you. Can you want to just kind of tell me your story a little bit and how you engaged with GBA, and you know, it's good for people to know who the people are on the board, you know, what their heart is, what their values are, you know, what their vision is. And then I really want to open it up for a dialogue with the folks that are with us, to share with us, to ask questions, and to share with us their visions for where GBA is going. Tom, why don't you tell us a little
Yeah,
bit?
thank you, Gerard. And you know, you all can see I've got my COVID length hair right now. This is so. I'm a little bit, you know, I'm still in the COVID informality, but no, Gerard, I think I was trying to figure out when I first started getting involved with GBA, and I think it was at least back in mid 2017. I was looking at some of the meetups that I remember going to out at O'Sullivan's in, where is that, in Clarendon, I think.
Right.
Yeah, so Cogent Law Group, we are a full service business law firm based in Washington, D.C. And we have been working in the cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, blockchain space since I think at least maybe I think we first started to get involved in this late 2014, 2015. And this is really, this has been one of our fastest growing practices. We do a lot of work. We've got a number of companies in the cryptocurrency space. At various points, we've done work with Dash. We've done work with local Bitcoins. We have maybe right now, perhaps at least a dozen clients that are involved in either exchanges, issuing their own cryptocurrency, setting up Bitcoin ATMs in physical locations. So we've had, this has been a definite interest focus of the firms. And so, you know, that's what attracted me to going to Gerard's meetups. I was just looking for opportunities to meet other folks active in the cryptocurrency blockchain space. And got a chance to know Gerard. We've been members of GBA since I think almost since it started. And, you know, we've had several, in addition to myself, several of my colleagues at Cogent have been very active in GBA. In particular, Eric Guthrie, who I think, I believe heads the legal and legislative working group. And former Cogent attorney, Miles Vaughn, who was very active in GBA, and I think he's still active, but he left Cogent last December. He had a wonderful opportunity to go to the Florida's Attorney General office for consumer affairs, where he's working on fintech issues, including cryptocurrency. So And, you know, it's really been, Gerard, it's been very, I've been extraordinarily impressed to see what you have done building this organization. And, you know, you've got a great membership. I mean, you know, these incredibly productive working groups. I know you've got, you know, management team that put in hundreds and probably thousands of hours of volunteer time at this point. You know, the whole series of conferences I've seen the organization put FAMAGL, the FAMAGLs, you know, culminating in the conference that we did last January 2020, right before the pandemic. And I know Cogent was a sponsor of that. And we are looking forward to government blockchain coming up, and the, you know, the next FAMAGL and the Capitol and the series of other events, including the amazing receptions planned. So, you know, I mean, my personal, I've been very attracted, intrigued by the blockchain use cases. And, you know, everyone here is very familiar with them, you know, seeing the examples. And I know our working groups have, you know, plumbed into this, but, you know, the possibility that we can use blockchain, bring much greater accountability, integrity, transparency, fight corruption, you know, in a whole series of different areas, but, you know, and particularly for government services. And I think that, you know, I'm a great believer in the importance of government, but, you know, anything we can do to make government more effective, you know, less corrupt, more efficient. And, you know, I think I am, you know, I've been very impressed with, you know, what the working groups have produced. And so that's sort of where I come at it. You know, I think, yeah.
Let me ask you just one or two questions, because then I want to give Dr. Cindy Bhaskar a chance to say some things, and then I really want to just have a conversation with those of us on the Zoom link, and then Rob, maybe you could put the Zoom link out in the chat, so if anybody else wants to join and ask questions. But so I remember asking you to be a member of the board, and it took us a long time. We've got a small board. It took us a long time to even get the board members that we have, because I was concerned that, you know, recognizing that the board would have authority over me because of the nature of the organization, I was very, very hesitant to put anybody on the board, right? Because I needed to trust them emphatically. I needed to know that they had to share the same vision, and if anything happened to me or I wasn't there, that whoever would replace me, and I'm hoping somebody can replace me soon, that the organization would carry on with the same set of values, right? So Tom was one of the first people that I went out to, and I'll tell you what it was about Tom. At the very beginning, honestly, you know, when you're starting something, very few people are willing to lift a finger to help you, right? And you talk about all these ideas, and people are yeah. And it reminds me a lot of the story of Gandhi, right? When Gandhi started his movement, he did something very similar to what I did, right? You know, we marketed our first meetup and you know, publicized it, and we went all out telling everybody, knowing that it was going to be a huge turnout. And on that first meetup, we had 100 chairs, and we had 2 people sitting in. And Mark Wasser was one of those people. And I'm looking for Mark. Is he in here? He's not in here now, but I got so much positive to say about Mark. And so what happened was, on the day of his march, right? Gandhi went out to the field where everybody was supposed to collect, and he was the only one there. And he said, "Well, I said we're going to have a march. We're going to have a march." So he started walking by himself, and you know, people laughed at him. People thought that his ideas were crazy, that you know, he was going to fail, that there's no chance of success. And you know, people were throwing rocks at him and making fun of him, and but these kids kind of felt sorry for him, so they started walking alongside, really probably out of pity more than anything else. And then there were a couple of people walking, then 1 or 2 more people joined him, and then a couple more. And by the time he got to his destination, there were 1 million people with him, right? And I learned that a lot of success is like that, right? When you have a vision or a dream, if you go around trying to get other people to do the work, right, then you'll spend a lot of time never getting the plane off the ground. And Tom was one of those folks who showed up consistently at every one of our meetups. And, you know, when we did one of our first events, and literally, you know, we've been cash poor a long time, but Tom reached into his pocket and he gave us some money, and he believed in us at the very beginning, right? And so did Brian Nielsen, right? Brian's not on the call now for whatever reason, but Brian's been with us, again, never asking for anything, but always essentially just saying, hey, I believe in the vision and the cause, and contributed. And so it's the people that essentially, and now we've got lots of them. Now I look around and I feel like we've got 1 million people. We don't have 1 million people, but and I'm sure that even when Gandhi looked around at those 1 million people, there were probably a handful of those people that would roll up their sleeves and do that kind of work. Mark Montoya is not with us, but that sounds pretty bad. He's signed off, but I'll share something about Mark Montoya. We had a course scheduled, and quite frankly, I forgot it was on the calendar, and I didn't even market or promote it. We didn't tell anybody about it, but Mark Montoya found it on the website. He signed up. It was a 5-day course, and we had one person sign up. And so one of our values is, you know, we believe in integrity and following through on commitments. So, you know, realizing I was going to take a week out of my time, and I was extremely busy, to sit down and do a one-on-one class with this guy, I was just like, what a colossal waste of time. But I made a commitment. So I sat down, and Mark and I went through the materials. We developed a friendship, and then that one guy turned out to be the driving force behind the cryptocurrency maturity profile and the report, which is a 138-page report, and it was the investment in people like that, right? The kinds of folks that will roll up your sleeves. It really has made a big difference. And so when you look at an organization that potentially may have millions of people, right, there will be a handful of people that'll be there with you, right? And those are the kinds of people that I've been looking for our board, you know, for key leadership roles, and that's the kind of person Tom Goldstein is. So when we need, and I also knew that we needed help. So we needed some help from a legal perspective. We needed help from a finance, accounting, tax perspective, which Andrew Parrish satisfies, and a technology perspective, which is where Brian Nielsen comes in. So those were the 3 areas. And as I look across the landscape now, and I say, well, what are the other areas where GBA needs from a board perspective, from a knowledge, a leadership, you know, somebody who can put their back into it. I recognize, since fintech is such an important part, we need somebody with a banking perspective. And because we're looking at ways to fund our projects, we need somebody from an investment capital perspective. So for that reason, I did ask Dr. Ingrid Visu-Feltes to join our board, and Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar. So let me take a moment, and Sindhu, why don't you introduce yourself for those people who are new, and just tell them a little bit about your background, and you know, what's your thought when I asked you to join the board? What's your thought process? Why are you willing to do that? And Cindy, you are still on mute. All right, well, all right, so anybody have any thoughts or questions about the board, about where we're going? Any questions about where we've come from, anything like that in terms of strategic direction for GBA? Jovan, I got a question for you. If you know, one of these all-day events, you never know if people are there or not. But oh, Jorg is got a comment. Jorg, why don't you put a comment? Why don't you address the comment?
About?
Yeah, Jovan, what was it that attracted you to this organization, and where do you kind of see that?
I initially came to a meetup basically to see if this is a place where I can learn something about blockchain, and I liked the crowd, and I understood that it's free for GBA members, so join GBA and kind of developed. But it was a good meetup initially. I was able to meet interesting people and start learning about blockchain, and then during pandemic, when the pandemic started, I also attended your training. And then I started, something started to kind of become clear in my head. For example, that no, you cannot separate blockchain from crypto, and a couple of interests, and I just understood, that there is an interest that the whole thing is happening between, not in crypto, not in government, it's between money, government, and the law, and kind of, things start to get even more interesting. So that's how I came, and then I stayed because we started to build something that was getting better and better every day. We kind of get you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and you've had a tremendously positive impact on us in the organization. Any thoughts from anybody here in terms of where they'd like to see us go in the future? All right.
So I think we are coming to the close of the session. And of course, after all the marathon session, I can only say we had such good exposures and such good information from all you people, and we shared our views and everything. So finally, before going, I would like to say something about myself, that I'm basically a banker for the last 33 years. And I have tried to create a digital banking platform with the aim of creating financial inclusion and social development. And I am working with my agenda in different countries, especially India and Africa, where financial inclusion has to be created in a big manner. I'm working in Africa with EcoBank as my digital partner, and we are giving them digital banking support. I'm also international partner for All Africa Union for free trade. Then I have a woman-centric project running in South Africa, wherein we are not only awarding the women with microcredit facilities, but depending on their good work, we are also supporting them with usable towels and all for medical purposes, and promote hygiene among women. Then we are also launching smart agriculture in Ghana. It is in itself a huge product with its own ecosystem, wherein we are trying to create a full agenda for rural development and social development. And all these things, again, gave me a good opportunity when I became member of GBA in, I believe it was in 2018. And after that, when Gerard gave me the responsibility of banking and finance chapter, and when I got connected to different chapter leaders and all, I thought that it is a very good platform by which I can promote my message, and I can promote my activities for the betterment and of society, as well as for real development and real agenda created by GBA. So very honestly and very sincerely, I'm trying to work with it, and I'm trying to put good effort from my side so that I can also create a source of revenue from my side for GBA. So whatever software and programs I have created, they are all white label solutions. So that's why I'm moving them through GBA so that I can split the benefits with GBA, which can be a permanent source of revenue also for GBA. Because of course we are contributing everything, but money is the main oil which is going to run the whole organization. So we have to look for that only. And since GBA is application money and based organization, so we have to expand its revenue structure and revenue base. So this is the whole agenda from my side, and I'm trying to do all the best for the organization in a most reasonable and decent manner. I was also connected through GBA to a CBDC program, and we had a good interaction there also. So I once again thank the whole platform of GBA and Gerard for keeping me in limelight, and all the other senior members who are also promoting and assisting me. And I'm absolutely grateful to them for all the good words they try to put for me. So I'll be very, very happy to have further higher responsibilities from GBA if and when they choose something in my favor.
Awesome. Thank you so
I'm
much.
always available to anyone, all the group members. Right now, I'm based in Miami, but my head office is at Cambridge Innovation Center, MIT Boston, and I'm basically Indian. So having all the fun of all the different parts of world. I have my offices in Latin America also, Africa also, Southeast Asia also. So thank you once again, all of you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Listen, we've just got a couple minutes left. We got Tom Goldstein, myself,
Super,
Cindy.
thank you. Yeah.
Anybody else have any thoughts, questions, comments that they'd like to make in terms of the big, we're going to talk more about more strategic projects tomorrow. All right, any other thoughts, questions, comments before we kind of wrap it up for today? Any feedback on how we're doing as an organization?
Just a quick question, Gerard. Hi everybody. This is Sari again. Regarding the vision, as we are talking strategic vision now, there is like a clash or a dissolve between CBDC and cryptocurrencies, where you can find GBA in between both of these two different aspects. Do you have like a clear vision where we are going, like with crypto or with the CBDC? Because both of them, in my opinion, my experience, will never meet in one point. Do you have like a clear vision in that one?
I would go back to our ethics statement, right? A nation, a company, right, has the right to generate tokens, right? And so if a company, a country, whatever, generates tokens, and those tokens are used for the purpose of benefiting their constituents, their groups, then we don't have any issues with it. If it's used to manipulate, control, dominate, take freedoms away from people, we would have an issue with that. And so that's about the best. That's about the best I can give. There's some places where there's some places where we'll have to have a little bit more of a neutral bias, and there's some places where we're going to say things that particular governments aren't going to like, right? I don't know. I'd like to hear other people's thoughts or comments on that subject, because I think it's a very important question, and I'd love to get some other inputs on that.
I would just like to add that I guess it's not a priority for GBA to speak about the subject per se, but outside of GBA, I'm here in Miami, Florida. I do know of other of a use case per se where blockchain is being implemented in this industry, and even starting out actually with just the sale of the marijuana plant, which is actually not illegal. So I know of a use case where they're actually accepting cryptocurrency to buy per se the plant, and in a legal way also for medical purposes. So in here in Florida, just per se, there's a monopoly in the sense that there's only per se, I believe, 15 licenses, and only these people that have the license can actually distribute and have the farms per se. So it's a very controversial topic. Obviously in California and other states are more open to the use of marijuana. So it depends on the state. It depends on even the country per se, the legal jurisdiction, and then how to actually implement the technology.
Yeah. Any other thoughts or comments on the subject?
I'll throw in a quick comment, which is GBA is not a government agency. It's a multinational association. And if you have a bunch of governments that like you and don't like you, you've got to be on the right track.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And the other little thing is that the whole cannabis issue is something that, you know, cryptocurrency can help those folks that have to sell this product, which in some states is legal, get around the federal regulation on transactions. And there's a real value in that. I'm neutral on the whole subject, but I do know that it is a viable product in many states and is something that is seen as a needed medical solution. And cryptocurrency can help people make those transactions.
Yeah, and you know, this actually links to a wider point, and I'm glad that we brought it up now. We should include this in our strategic plan. How we come up with policy, right? I think that if we could create some kind of a consensus mechanism, and Mark, maybe this even feeds into your one of your passion projects, but how do we come up with policy, right? You know, here's what I don't want to happen. I don't want everybody to say, Gerard, what's our policy, right? It really should be. Mark, you want to talk a little bit about the importance of being Mark Wasser, about the importance of being a member-driven organization, and what some of our early conversations were about around that?
Sure. So I guess it was, wow, was it last January? A lot of us got together to work on the bylaws for the organization. And one of the things that we've decided that we want to work towards is to be a member-driven organization, which is probably most effectively implemented as a DAO, a distributed autonomous organization. And generally the way that works is that you've got blockchain-based voting, and you've got blockchain-based methods for really anyone to submit proposals, which then need to be, it's effectively like a petition process. Anything which generates enough interest is brought before the group as a whole, or alternatively, of course, there's a regular cycle of proposals appearing, and based upon whether they're voted up or down, that's the way they occur. And that's definitely something technology-wise that we want to move towards. Starting next month, we are going to be voting to award GBA tokens. However, the method by which we are awarding them is actually by voting from the top down, where the topmost level is our 7 strategic goals, or the 7 areas where we believe we should spend time and resources. So in one sense, we're actually moving money to places where we think it's important. For example, if you happen to think that the regions are important, you say that 100% of the tokens should go there. If you think events are important, you can throw 90% there and 10 to the work groups. And then it filters down to the people who are actually working under each of those. So there will be incentive for people to actually move towards where there are tokens available and votes available. Votes may actually even be more important to some people. Once we've got that process running, everyone's used to voting on things, then we probably want to move into the various proposals and the like. And there'll be infrastructure for all of it, blockchain based, of course.
That's where we're going. We're going so that we're a very participative organization in terms of governance, and hopefully we can create a model that governments can use, you know, once we figure it out, right? Anyway, we're pretty much at the end of the day, and I appreciate you guys for hanging in longer. But I hope this was helpful. Did you guys? I know you guys spent a lot of time today. Was this something that was helpful for you guys today in terms of understanding a little bit more about what GBA is all about?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was really helpful.
A
lot of really good information across the board.
Yeah, it really sort of tells me we do our monthly leadership calls, but I think this is really important where people can really get a handle on what are all the different things happening at GBA. And then, of course, we'll make this available as video content so people can pull it on demand. Matt, thank you so much for the platform. Rob, you're incredible. I know you did so much work to pull all this together and get all the scheduling and stuff like that. Mark, your technology support, Dr. Cindy Bascar, all you guys, Tom. Now I got to mention everybody because
I was supposed to say, and you all know who you are. Thank you very much.
Most importantly,
Gerard?
Sure.
Oh, just you know, speaking as a board member, I absolutely agree that this should be you know, a member-driven. The agenda should be member-driven, since you know so much of the work is coming from the membership, the working group, and you know, getting feedback from the membership, and I think through you know through the voting and the tokens, you know, that's a good mechanism. But you know, look, a lot of our efforts, I think, at the board are to make sure, put some effort in making sure that the organization is following best practices with, you know, legal, accounting, to help get its finances in a strong position. You know, so I think we're going to put a lot of effort into that. But you know, we want to get input from membership, and then, you know, on where, you know, to reflect, and that's the agenda. The organization's agenda should reflect what the membership the members' priorities are.
Yeah, absolutely agree. All right, guys. Well, you all have a bodacious